I'm Steve Marvel. I'm a survival specialist and I head up Crucial Survival. And it is very important to me that we teach the truth because there is so much bollocks out there, so much horse shit. That it can be dangerous. Not only I've slammed armchair experts enough, um, that it's just really, really important that we understand the difference between what they say and what's truth, and the fact that that can be dangerous to follow some of the things that just pop out of their mouth. I'm just going to pop a link in here. And this is for a blueprint which I'm publishing, with which you will be able to, well, you work this stuff out for yourself. It would just be obvious. School.online / blueprint. Super. This should be a link to, let's see if it works. Yeah, I think that's the one. Survival School online. Can somebody just let me know that is in fact the case? And yes, that you can actually get there. I'm going to try it myself. Go survivalschool.online / blueprint. Super. And that is not. Oh shit. Spell survival, right, Steve. There we go. It's not super because it's super duper, though it is obviously super duper. It's a super because it's a super early bird offer for this blueprint, and you will find out about it before anybody else, and you'll get a whopping discount. And that's why I popped that in there. We've got one viewer. Can you tell me whether or not that you can get there and that form works? Blueprint. So that was cool. Right. So onward to talk about this rule of threes shit. So once upon a time, there was a lot of talk within the survival teaching community. You can last 3 days without water, and then you can last 3 months, week, whatever. It doesn't really matter at this point. It really, really doesn't matter. 3 months without any food. Or is it 3 weeks? Or is it 3 months? You know what? I'm going to tell you why it doesn't fucking matter. This gets on my nerves. So then some people decided they wanted to take the other parts of survival and cram that in a contrived way. And they did. Because then they said you can last 3 hours without shelter and 3 minutes without air. And it's like, what? Did you just make that up for the sake of it? What does surviving 3 minutes without air actually mean? Is that breathing? Is that oxygen to the brain? They say air. Is it because it's not air? So that must be to do with breathing. It's like they don't even think about what it is. So air, 3 minutes without air. So let's assume that's holding your breath. So go on then, hold your breath, because I know what the statistics are to do with holding your breath, and it's not 3 minutes normally. So let's have a quick look at what time is. And yeah, prepare yourself, because in 20 seconds, exactly 17:16 GMT, I want you to start holding your breath. Okay? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm not just going to stop whittering. So, what I'd like you to do is the point at which you stop holding your breath, and you can do this after the video because this video will exist. At the end of this video, I shall have all of the information, because some people, like the world record holder, will be able to go for as long as, 24 minutes or something. Well, I'm not quite sure that mere mortals like us can do that, and I know certainly that I can't. I can go for about minute and a half. There are a number of people that have trained for divers. What are they called? Free divers. They do that. David Blaine did it for like 20 minutes or something stupid. And yeah, obviously you can last more than 3 minutes without air, but equally you can't hold your breath for probably more than 2 minutes anyway. So what does it mean? Is this to do with drowning? I don't know. What nobody stands up and defines what this is. Because if it's to do with drowning, then chances are you're going to suffer cold water shock anyway, which is where you go in and you start gasping and you aspirate water, you breathe in water, which is a fucking disaster zone. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera because it's in a silly place. So yeah, people just it can't be drowning. So is it at Everest where you have to have oxygen? Yeah, because I'd like to see somebody hold their breath whilst they're climbing Everest. That no. What else? Because it's so difficult. You need that oxygen to think, to operate your muscles. What? So 3 minutes without air. Can we just establish that that's a load of crap? Anybody manage to hold their breath for, what is it now, 3 minutes, something like that? Put it in the comments how long it was that you held your breath for. And if you didn't start then, just hold your breath and let me know how long it took you to do that. So 3 hours without shelter. What an absolute load of crap. Who said 3 hours without? What is this, some ridiculous assumption about the ambient temperature and weather. I don't know what were they thinking. These armchair experts contrived this 3 hours without shelter shit to try and cram it into the rule of threes, which was already bollocks. For those of you who are joining us, this is the link to the Survival Blueprint, which is something I'm publishing later this month, and this is the super early bird discount registration so that you can get it quicker and cheaper than anybody else. That'll be middle of the month. So 3 hours, what is this to do with warmth? Is it to do with rain? It realistically has to do with warmth. Now, I don't know if you ever have been on top of a mountain when it's windy, but I have, and it's fucking freezing. Now, I wouldn't want to stand there in the cold for 3 hours. I've been in the sea. Anybody that's been in the cold sea, they're going to be hypothermic in an hour, and they're going to get cold and possibly just die of hypothermia within 3 hours. Which sea is it? What's the sea temperature? What's the ambient temperature of our environment in which we need shelter? Is it windy? Is it raining? What strength is the wind? Is it snowing? Have you built one of these debris shelters? Fucking debris shelters. You know, debris shelters, right? They don't fucking work. And the reason they don't work is because they're not constructed such that the water flows to the ground. What they are is just a great big fucking sponge. You go looking on YouTube and you will find that people have built a debris shelter and it looks really, really pretty, but they're inside their debris shelter. It's nice and warm and it's nice and shady and all of this, and it's a little bit windy. You know what? See in your bedroom. That's probably where you are in the rain, because go and sit in your debris shelter when it's absolutely pissing it down, and you tell me whether or not it works. Because I've taught shelter building, and I've been there when it's absolutely ragging it down, and kids have been making shelters, and yeah, you get a bit of moss and stuff. It's just shit. The water goes onto the debris and just sinks through, and the more water, eventually it's going to sink through and dripping water in a shelter. No good that is. So there are ways of doing that, and I will explain that another day when I slam debris shelters, because I'm on a crusade at the moment, as you may or may not have noticed. Apologies for the quality of the audio. It's been a bad day for broadcasting. That's why we're looking at my living room from this angle, and the sound's probably shit. Sorry, multimedia guy. My apologies. Do the best you can. I appreciate you greatly. But onwards. You can last 3 hours without shelter. What a load of bollocks. Go on then. It's like, you. What if it's nice? What if it's nice weather? I go walking for 12 hours. I don't need shelter. What's a shelter? Is it a wooden constructed thingamabob? Is it a really good coat? I've been out in the Lake District at God knows what temperature and conditions in really good clothing, and I've been fine. In fact, too hot sometimes. So that's a perfectly good shelter, if you ask me. Good hood, very orange, very good for being spotted. So carrying on. Are we in agreement that 3 minutes without air is rubbish, and 3 hours without shelter is bollocks? It's just rubbish. Because you can freeze to death in Antarctica. You can have minus 80 and horizontal ridiculous winds. So yeah, it's just bollocks. 3 days without water. Oh God, it drives me bonkers. This is one of these things where people go, okay, you can last 3 days without water. Unless you are in the desert, at which point you need to have more. Oh, unless you're in the jungle, in which case you need 8 liters a day, at which point you can dehydrate because you're sweating. And it's like, is it water? Is it literally water? Or is it hydration? Is it electrolytes? What is it that you actually are talking about when it comes to this 3 days business? There are perfectly calculable formula that's associated with the amount of water you lose just bimbling around, and the amount of water use that if you lose a certain amount of water in the body, you will absolutely die, probably of kidney failure. However, therein lies a question. 3 days without water. What about 2.5 days without water and dying of kidney failure? Then about 3 months later. Is that actually surviving without water? In the big scheme of things, if you're doing work or in a particularly hot environment, a dry environment, even the Arctic, it's dry, though it's not a big deal to find water. If you are, I've completely forgotten what I'm talking about. Where was I? Yeah. Anyway, water, 3 days. Wonder where I was. I imagine that bit will get cut out of the edit. So yeah, 3 days without water, possible kidney failure. Now I remember. If you're working or it's hot, then you can get thirsty. If you're thirsty, you're on the way to dehydration. If you're sweating like a dog, then you are getting yourself into an electrolyte imbalance, at which point you probably need some salt and some sugar and some water as well. So yeah, is this just hydration, or is this sort of just water, or is it whole-bodied hydration? And you know what? If you are dehydrated, which you will be, then you're going to have a raging headache. You are going to be lethargic. You are going to be confused. Ultimately, just a waste of space. Are you realistically going to be able to look after yourself? Are you going to be able to light that signal fire? Are you going to be able to walk around and get the wood for your fire? I'm surprised there's not, by the way, a 3 somethings without fire. Because what have we got? We've got 3 minutes we got 3 hours. No, not 3 days. How about 3 seconds without swearing? That's pretty much where I am when I'm talking about armchair experts. So yeah, you're going to be constipated. This is also dangerous. And on that note, constipation is really dangerous. I don't remember there any business with how long you can last without taking a shit. So there's another one that's not into the rule of threes. So people are just cramming the things in which makes sense to them. Any rule that fits, anything that doesn't fit, they don't put in. So there we are. We are contrived our way through air without knowing really what it is, for shelter without actually defining whether or not it's associated with exposure or whatever. And there are so many factors. It's to say 3 hours it's just bullshit. And 3 days without water is just is it? Are they just concerned with whether or not you die then, or if you're a bit hydrated, you can die on the 5th day? But I don't know. I don't know. How many days can you last without sodium? I don't know. But apparently, you can last 3 weeks or 3 months, depending on who you talk to, without food. And yes, there are terrible images of people who have been particularly in prison of war camps, and they are tragic. And the wasting is a factor of malnutrition. And so equally, if you are malnourished to that extent, how capable will you be of surviving? Is it 3 months? Is it 3 weeks? I'm gonna look it up. What did they say? Rule of threes survival. Picture. 30 days without food. Yeah, 30, because that sort of crams in, oh dear, we didn't quite have the way to get that into threes. Oh yeah, 3 weeks. 3 weeks, 30 days, or 3 months. Broad, wouldn't you say? Broad. Blueprint. Writing the blueprint. Yeah. Get yourself registered for a early bird discount. And I will. This will tell you why all of this is bollocks. You won't even have to watch this video again. You'll just read that and you'll go, oh yeah, that's why. That's just why. And you will be able to slay the armchair experts. As is the case with dehydration, there are factors. Malnutrition associated with energy, malnutrition associated with proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, all of these things. If you balls this up in terms of nutrition, if you don't know things that will feed you well, certain plants, etc., then you can get malnourished well within 30 days, within days, like, I don't know, 4 days, you start. Can you imagine how hungry you're going to be in 4 days? For those who intermittently fast, for instance, you get hungry in the same day, let alone 3 or 4 days, 5 days. So yeah, to say that the body can last 30 days, 3 months, what the fucking hell they say. It's just, not only is it arbitrary, but it's unfounded and it's not useful. It's not useful to say the body is able to last a certain amount of days without food. And again, like the dehydration, if you are partially dehydrated, severely dehydrated, and you end up with kidney failure within the year, is that surviving? Assuming you've got hope, is that still surviving? If it is the case that your nutrition is such that you do not get your vitamins, your minerals, and you end up with all sorts of internal problems, then is that surviving? Better to understand what hydration is all about, what nutrition is all about in a survival situation. And of all of this, we've got air, oxygen, presumably, shelter, heat, not getting cold, presumably, water, hydration, food, nutrition. Nobody's talking about rescue. Yeah, nobody's talking about rescue here. You are pretty much, assuming somebody knows you're going somewhere and they think you're missing, you're probably about 24 to 48 hours away from rescue. Fit that into your rule of threes. Shall we call it 30 hours? No, because they would have hours twice, but we got more than 130, and we to go 10. I don't know. We can't say 10, so we do the rule of tens. You can have 30 seconds without air. Can you see? It's just contrived. There's all the things that they can fit in, sort of work, and all of the things that don't fit in are just not mentioned. This is a poor set of rules. This is very bad to have locked in your brain. This one fits all sort of rule set. This is not about one size fits all. This is not about the rule of threes. It is not about linear survival planning. It's not about fires and shelters and then rescue and then this and then that and then navigation. No, it's associated with understanding how emergencies work. It's understanding how your body works. It's understanding how rescue works. And with those three sort of trifecta of bits of information and some rudimentary planning skills and a mindset that will actually give you the courage to take that conviction and go with it, then that is how to survive. That's what this is. Go and register for this and you'll get it at a super early bird discount. The other systems are jeopardizing your chances of rescue. They're jeopardizing your chances of getting home to your friends and family. There is survival, armchair expert survival, and this. This works. This is not armchair expertise. This is years of emergency services, years of survival training to me and from me, years of research, years of experience, and years of exercise planning, interagency exercise planning, disaster and emergency preparedness. This is what it's all about. This could potentially save your life, and the rule of threes could potentially kill you. Thank you very much for listening for this half an hour rant about this incredibly dangerous rule of threes and how people spout about it. And you now have the ammunition that you can use to shoot those armchair experts down, slay them, and their myths will disappear ultimately. Use this. Go and register for this, and you will not regret it. Good night, all. Until next time, this is Steve Marvel at Crucial Survival.
Hello again. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, because when you do so, you will not only ensure that you miss nothing, but your questions and comments will benefit the channel and enhance each episode for everybody. I'll see you in the next one, and in the meantime, keep well, stay at home and save lives.